Hello and welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John, where in each episode we'll stroll down the Macintosh memory lane. We'll discuss older Macintosh computers, collecting all things related to the Mac and Apple computer, and current topics from the perspective that only a couple of old Mac fans can provide.
That's right. Here we are. We're back. We had some unscheduled
Yet more delays, yeah.
absences. I think I was the one that
You were the first
called
week,
it.
and then I was the second week. I got pretty sick last week, so I had
not
to
not on
call
death's
it.
door, but I think on the pathway, like maybe at the
Certainly not
by
able
the
to
curb.
speak well. Let's just
Ooh.
put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're feeling well tonight, and
Yeah, better.
here we are. An announcement next week, should we choose to return and are able, we're going to bump it up a half hour.
Yeah, because I'm an old man and I'm normally in bed by 8. We're going to bump it up to 7
7
o'clock start
p.m.
time.
Central start
That's
time.
right, 7 p.m.
And,
Central.
and I know we've made the switch before and somehow screwed it all up, right? 'Cause
Right.
And I can't remember what we did.
You went from 8 to 7:30 and then didn't show up until almost 8, I think, the following week. Something along those lines.
Oh, it was me. I messed it up. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
pretty
Well,
sure it was something like that.
anyway, okay. So, but I set my alarm right here. I know when it's happening. All right. Well, let's get this thing going in earnest. Let's find a record button and go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John. This is episode 685 for July 8th, 2024. Good evening, John.
Good evening, James.
John is feeling better
Yep.
after a bout with something unknown and
Who knows?
nefarious.
Right.
But that kept you out of the game last week, and then I think the week prior, I don't know if something happened for me work-wise that got in the way yet again. The summer is, I don't know, for some reason summer gets like crazier.
It does,
all the way around.
Right.
And then there's also a lot of summer travel, which is gonna get in the way of some more episodes. We should be back next week, and then after that we'll be on hiatus for a bit as I go on travel for a bit. I think during that time is when you're going to hit the Vintage Computer Festival Southeast.
Yes, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, 2 weekends from now in Atlanta.
Yeah.
If any of our listeners are going to be there, hey, let me know.
You'll see David Grealish there. I think he's doing a special session.
I hope so. Yeah.
On his documentary on the Apple Lisa. But we'll have to recap that after I get back from my little vacation. All right. Well, today we're going to do the time capsule thing again. We have to go every couple of months because that's what Macworld was doing in the first year. I don't know. Did they do
I was going to ask, how long did they do that before they
I don't know if it was
went
maybe
to
in the
monthly?
first 2 years, but they've got a July-August issue that we're going to take a look at. And we've got some eBay finds and some news. So we'll be right back with those eBay finds. Yeah, and I published last week's episode with none of our audio, which well, it had some of it, but it didn't have all of it. There's a weird thing that GarageBand does when you import audio tracks into it, and by default, it doesn't have them play any audio.
Huh.
Like you'd think by default it would.
By default, it
have
might
it
want to
play.
do that since it's
And
an
so if you-
audio app.
Yeah, so if you forget to click that extra box, then there's no audio from that track, and every once in a while that bites me, as it did. And then you ask, well, shouldn't you caught that when you did a little double check before you uploaded? Yes, I should have. Okay, let's see. We're going to do a little eBay. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. it's time for the eBay finds. Last episode, there was the Super Bowl cushion from 1985 that featured the Apple logo prominently, put out at Stanford, California on January 20th, 1985. So it was in pretty good shape, and it's still available for the buy it now of $75. There's no make an offer on that one. And then, what did we have? Oh, the G4 Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
But what was cool about this is it featured the 15-inch studio monitor, and everything seems to be working. I got some pictures showing it all set up, ready to go. So nice little setup. And it got no bids. It started at $25 with a buy now of $350. Now it was relisted, and we got the thing where it says, it was ended because the item is no longer available. So one of those deals.
Hopefully somebody local just was able
Just
to buy
said,
it.
hey,
Mhm.
yeah, they did a outside of eBay transaction or something. I don't know. Sounds suspicious to me, but hopefully it found a good home. And then there was the lot of all kinds of Mac stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Monitors and disk drives and even some Apple II stuff. A lot of printers. Some of it looks a little worse for the wear. They wanted $5,000 for it, got no bids. And let's see if it's been relisted, and they lowered the price. It was relisted and they did not lower the price. So again, got no bids. And then they lowered it to $3,000, which still was a little bit off. Got no bids and relisted it again. And it's still up for $3,000 where you can make an offer.
Gee whiz.
Okay.
Yee. All right.
We'll begin this week. This is all about signs this week.
Yes. Signs everywhere.
What's your sign?
There's signs. Wow.
Yes. This one caught my eye. The title says Apple Light Sign Lamp. Description says a gorgeous lamp sign is a tribute to the Macintosh logo, although it's just the Apple logo. It's an LED sign with a 2-meter USB cable, has a wall mounting kit. It's been 3D printed and laser cut. And it measures 45 by 37 centimeters.
Which is about 17 and a half inches.
Do that math. Okay.
Tall. Yeah. Yep.
And I'm looking at the now. So in the old days, there are a lot of these hanging around stores, 3D signs like this on a bigger scale and made out of metal. I have one perched above my desk here. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's kind of designed in that sort of aesthetic.
Very similar, sure. A little pricey, I have to say.
Kind of pricey, but I like. I mean, they did a really nice job of designing the colors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of time with these knockoffs, right? You're going to see maybe the colors aren't so great or whatever, but this one looks great, and the depth of it, what's really makes it nice. Does it say what the depth is?
See from the side view. Well, if we know it's about 17 and 18 inches tall, I guess that's what, about 3?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
And the whole thing lights up, and because the sides are white, they kind of glow too.
They do. Yeah, this would look really nice on a wall, especially if you gave it a little bit of a standoff. But it would also sit nicely on a table like they show here.
Yeah. This picture against the black backdrop, it shows you lighting up the back a little bit. There's a picture of the back.
Yeah, if you look closely at the back, you can actually see the track that they put the LED lights in there.
Right, and it actually shows pretty uniform.
Kind of like a spiral. Yeah,
and you can see how they fed it up into the leaf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty cool.
So my big sign, that's one of the things I've not gotten around to doing, is replacing the lighting with LED lighting. Mine originally had fluorescent tubes that were all shattered when I got it. But I think this is a great looking, and you could make something. I mean, you'd have to have a pretty big 3D printer, right? And I don't know how they did the colors, right?
I'm
obviously is
guessing
good.
for that it was like a vinyl print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really well done. Now, is it
Yeah.
$450? Is the bat now? I don't know, but they have a make an offer.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it looks fantastic. I'm
Oh,
kind of
I
tempted
also
to see what they'll
I want to
take.
clarify that
Yes.
yeah, looking at the measurement, so that 37, that's the width, so that that is about 17-ish inches wide, which means height-wise, maybe closer to 20, something along those
Yeah.
lines. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty
So
good
it's a nice,
size.
it's a good
Yeah.
size. It wouldn't dominate a wall or thing, but it would, it's a nice manageable size.
I do see
Anyway,
they like to us they
yeah.
want $50 shipping. I'm trying to see where this is coming from.
Yeah, well, it ships from Italy, which is also kind of interesting
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Hence the craftsmanship from Italian designer. Okay. All right. One sign down. Next sign. What do you think of this one?
At first, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, why is that thing so disproportionate?" And then I realize it's because actually taken at a fairly top heavy view. It's still a little wonky looking when you see pictures of them holding it, but it's not nearly as bad looking as that first one. The first one looks like an Apple logo with an overbite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so this is there any sort of
It's stained
provenance to
glass.
this? Yeah, I see it's stained glass.
It's a stained glass. They found it in an antique store that does estate cleanouts. And they did a little
Sure,
repair.
but
It seems like we've talked about this one before.
I think we've seen, if not this one,
Something
one's very
similar.
similar to this, but we
Yeah.
have no idea if it is vintage, if it's something that was done, later by just somebody who was an Apple fan that also did
Uh,
stained glass.
it reminds me that we haven't done a show about my collection of stained glass.
Really? Oh
Apple
yeah,
logos.
your
So I've got-
collection is amazing on that.
But they want a fair price. I mean, it's not a fair price. It's a fair sum, a princely sum for this. $2,000.
Yeah,
is
this
the
one's
buy now.
12 inches high by 10 inches wide.
It is of these. It is on the larger side. I've seen smaller ones. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's not $2,000 cool, but it's cool. All right. If you didn't have $2,000 for this, I don't think you're going to have what they want for this next one. The next one
Yeah,
it says,
wow.
well, we already know it's going to be pricey when the first words of the title say Steve Jobs.
Right.
And then it says scarce autograph Macintosh Office poster signed. Description reads, insanely great Apple co-founder, visionary CEO, and maverick entrepreneur Steve Jobs scarce hand signed the Macintosh Office poster. A jubilant Jobs boldly signs at the center in red, and he signs it, "Let's make it happen together," signed Steve Jobs, celebrating the Southeast team's introductory rollout of the revolutionary Apple Computer Integrated Office, additionally co-signed by a handful of other Apple corporate executives. It says one of the few items signed by Jobs, yes. What else? They say they guarantee that it is authentic because they've done expert examination. I don't know.
By
Okay.
PSA/DNA expert. What PSA?
I don't know. I mean, DNA is DNA, but I doubt they got any DNA from this. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the PSA is, but
or what the DNA in this instance stands for. Yeah.
now it's 24 by 36 inches. We've seen this poster before. I don't think I've ever seen it with the little addition there underneath the title, the Macintosh Office, where it says "Thanks to the Southeast team for a great rollout." It looks like somebody wrote that in calligraphy.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing then this is the Southeast team, the other signatures, because there aren't any really
Prominent. Yeah, we
recognizable.
don't see like Scully or any other names that we would recognize.
Yeah.
I don't
But
see,
we
like,
do
Legacy
recognize
in
in
there or anything like that. Yeah.
You can see they've blown up the piece that says "Let's make it happen together," Steve Jobs, where he wrote it on top of the laser writer that's at the center of the poster.
So how much are they wanting for this?
Ooh, how much would you pay? Now, for reference in the description, they say that an authentic autograph is notoriously difficult to obtain, and one authentic example once fetched in 2021 $479,000. So that's their basis of comparison, and thus they have priced this at the mere buy it now price of $45,000.
1/10 the price.
1/10. I mean, you can buy 10 of them.
Right.
I'd still be ahead. So I mean, it is true. Things with Steve Jobs' signature, I mean, go for incredible amounts of money, like checks or office correspondence or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Your fired notes, whatever. It's
So it seems like if this were legit and they really believed it to be legit, that it's severely undervalued, underpriced. So, or maybe it's not as legit as you might be led to think.
Or the frenzy has worn off.
I don't think we've seen recent auctions where still getting it. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, just like I was thinking about like original Apple computers, Apple One computers. We've seen them go for millions, and we've seen them go for 500,000.
Yeah, it does go up and down for sure. But this is really down if other signed things get that much more. Anyway, still cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
No make an offer though. We'll see if it's around next week. All right.
Hey, Eric.
$45,000. All right, moving on.
Oh, you're from the UP? Oh yeah, don't you know? I'm up from Wisconsin myself, so yeah. Oh, Upper Peninsula. Yep. Yep. The top of the Wisconsin hat, as we sometimes call it.
Let's move on. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. All right, we're turning back the clock to July and August of 1984 in Macworld magazine. This is the second issue of Macworld. The cover is in blue and says the Macintosh communicates and has a close-up of the phone icon, which was like one of the few ways you're going to connect your Mac to the outside world. So we're going to flip through here and some things that caught our eye. We'll begin. Oh, let's see. Page 9. What's going on page 9? Multiplan.
Is that something you ever used?
No, but I remember the name Multiplan. I don't remember exactly what it was, and so I was looking. I was like, "What was Multiplan? Microsoft Multiplan?" And then just a little bit of research, and you find out, oh, well, it didn't last very long, at least on the Mac, and it probably got replaced by Excel shortly after this little ad campaign. Right. But yeah, it was the first spreadsheet that they had, and it was on a lot of platforms, including the Apple II and III, and then briefly on the Macintosh. Of course, it's big.
They had a lot of competition for spreadsheets, didn't they? Because what was the big
VisiCalc
spreadsheet program? VisiCalc, right?
VisiCalc, which, as far as I know, never made it to the Mac, but VisiCalc, was huge on Apple II. And this was the competitor to that. But there it is. Multiplan, you can get it for a reduced price of $195, which, oof, $1984 must have been a lot. Yeah, I was reading just kind of related to this. One of the letters to the editor, like tech support or whatever, was a Multiplan user where they had done all this huge spreadsheet or whatever, and then came back the next day, and when they ran it, they got a bomb error on their computer. No. And it was totally unrecoverable, and it was a known bug that caused the whole thing to crash and lose all your work. Yeah, it was like,
jeez.
Yeah, that's and their recommendation was go get the new version. It takes care of that. Page 24, talking about Mac software revisions.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. So, as reported in our last issue, enhanced versions of the Mac Write / Mac Paint and system disks are now available at your Apple dealers. During the upgrade period, you can take your system and application disks to your dealer, who will copy the new versions onto your disks free of charge. I just found it, how stuff had to be distributed back then.
How
The
quaint.
fact that you would have to
Yes.
take your flop if you wanted it for free. I'm sure they would gladly sell you. But one of the other cool things is not only were they upgrading this, but they were updating their fonts,
Yeah.
including the brand new pictorial font Cairo. So this would be the first time that anyone would have any exposure to Claris, which was part of the Cairo font. which I
Where
thought
is I'm
also was
looking at
kinda
Claris? Am
cool.
I missing it? Where's Claris?
Yeah, there it is, right there, right
She
there.
is. She? Is
I
Claris a
have no
female?
idea.
These are like the first emojis.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at those little things. Awesome. Of course, the handiwork of Susan Kerr. And let's see. Let's move on to page 42. What's awaiting us on page 42?
Oh yeah, so 42 was one of the. This was in their help section, and one of the things they talk about is if you have a floppy disk that absolutely doesn't want to have anything to do. Yeah, the Mac doesn't want anything to do with it. Is I found this interesting. What you do is you start up your Mac, and there's a little button just inside the disk drive that you basically trick the Mac into thinking that you've inserted a floppy. You'll hear the disk, you'll hear the drive motor spin up, and then it'll go, I can't read this floppy. Do you want to initialize it? And then you would put your trouble disk in and format it, because if it was already formatted, but it wasn't, but it was like crashing your system, there's no way to get it to format it fresh. It would just crash your system. So this was the kind of workaround. And that's a little trick I had never run across anywhere before.
Yeah.
Here you
They
would
call it the
basically
magic finger.
right.
And there's a little diagram of it written, shown in like Mac Paint. Yeah, I'd never heard of that either. I guess I never had that problem.
Right.
Or maybe if I had the problem, you just take the disk and throw it in the trash or something. But really, that's cool. You're learning something new every day about old Macs. Let's see. That's page 42. Let's go to page 85. And you wanted to talk about the Scotty Mac
All right,
case.
so yeah, everyone has run across one of the Mac bags, either the one by Apple, or one of the later ones. But then they page 85 shows this tank of a case. It is ridiculously over engineered. This is if you had to take your Mac, precious Mac, cross country or something. So this whole thing, oh gosh, it's got to be about the size of two original Macs side by side. And if it's this big cube of a case, and it's completely foam padded inside, and you've got your place for your standard stuff, the keyboard, the mouse, the Mac itself. Looks like it's got a place for a book, but it's a wow. I mean, it is a behemoth of a case. It is crazy.
Yeah.
How secure your Mac would be in this thing.
I wish this ad were in color so we could see how cool this looks, because because everybody knows
gray with Scottish red plaid pocket. Yes, made from Cordura nylon, whatever that is.
Obviously, keying on that Macintosh is Scottish, so they continued that theme to give it a Scottish themed case, the Scotty Mac case. Yes,
insulated with 6 inches of dense die-cut foam nested inside a plastic corrugated shell. Oh, so the case itself is a hard case, lightweight, rugged protection. Wow,
sweet. I wonder if you could get that in your family's tartan if you so requested. Okay, let's go to page 120. And we were talking about this not long ago, because
they show up on eBay every now and then, right?
They do. Yeah. I guess what I was getting at was the I don't know if it's Drexel itself had published that article commemorating the anniversary of this whole program. And this article is the first article about the program, Drexel's Brave New World, where they write about Drexel being the first university to require incoming freshmen to buy a computer. And they all got
Wow.
shiny Macintosh computers. And so that article that we talked about it, months back, had some of these photos, but not all of these photos. And so it's awesome to go back here and see this little time capsule of the students unboxing the computers and gathering around them, and just the excitement.
Sure.
Abounded.
Because again, this would be the first time that most of these kids had ever even seen a mouse. This may be their very, very first computer they ever owned.
Yeah. Right. And so I love this little article. Oh, I guess that's it. Yeah. Everybody's smiling, and so that's kind of cool. I'll have to go back and read that whole thing. Let's see. And then Paige, we're going to close here with a little slideshow from the Macworld Gallery. They ran this feature throughout the early episodes or issues of Macintosh, where people submitted their handiwork, and I don't know what this is all Mac Paint. Were there other programs they could use at that point?
Well, I don't think.
I think so. I think it was
out yet. I think it was just Mac Paint at this point. But some really impressive stuff, I think, for the fact that it's Mac Paint. And this particular issue also has some really great Mac Paint tutorials talking about some of the updates to the new Mac Paint elsewhere in this issue. So there is something special about the 1-bit graphics that you were able to do on the Mac.
Especially you get the limitations of almost no
one
palette.
undo, no layers.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, one undo.
Yeah.
So you really got to have this thought out in advance.
Absolutely.
Because you've got a fixed canvas size, and you can't. Once you put that pixel there, that's it. It's not that far removed from actually ink and paper. I guess you can cut, and you can erase and stuff, right?
But, that is, I think, the biggest thing probably a lot of people were having to do is they would cut and paste between two files. Once they got something really down pat, is go ahead
but
and
even
paste
then,
that into.
You couldn't have two files open at the same time.
No, right? No, yeah, you'd have to copy something to the clipboard.
Yeah.
Close that, and then right.
And look at this. This is great because you get Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. Their likeness is done in Mac Paint, of course. Eddie Murphy back then,
and still
probably probably Beverly Hills Cop had just come out or was coming out, and of course,
or that may have in '84. That may have still just been him on SNL.
Well, he was in movies by then, but Beverly Hills, and Beverly Hills Cop came out in '84, and of course, now 40 years later, Beverly Hills Cop
new
4,
because there's nothing new in Hollywood.
So, wow, some great works there. Well, that was August 1984, courtesy of Macworld Magazine. You can download the full issue and all the issues from archive.org. Yeah, right. Right is right. 48 Hours was that Eddie Murphy's movie debut? Did he really hit it big, like in that big movie, like probably in '83?
That was him and Nick Nolte, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say that was his first movie, but
wow.
Okay. That needs another 40 hours. There was another 40 hours. I don't know if he has it in to make another. I think Trading Spaces probably came after.
Yeah.
That was a little later, but somebody can look that up.
That was a great movie, though. Also.
All right.
Speaking. All right.
Yeah.
Total. But since we saw that Richard Pryor picture in there too, little Trading Spaces trivia was it was originally supposed to be a Gene Wilder Richard Pryor movie. as the two main characters.
Oh,
Yeah, at that point they had done
wow.
like 3 or 4 movies
Yeah,
together,
they
and
were a great duo.
it were, yeah, it was fun. But yeah, ended
Okay,
up as Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. So
let's get into some news in three, two, one. All right, time now for the news. We're over at the Steam store, and John wanted to point out something in their copy of
yeah,
Wizardry.
so there is a brand new version of Wizardry. When I say brand new, I don't mean like a new chapter. It is a redo of Wizardry Proving Grounds and the Mad Overlord, the very first story in the
So it's
Wizardry
the
chapter.
same game, but with modern
Same
graphics.
exact game with modern graphics, same exact turn-based.
Wow.
But what's really, really cool is
Yes.
they actually have overlaid in the lower right corner, you can have an overlay of what the game looked like on the actual Apple IIe version.
Oh my goodness.
So you can follow right along with the original, what the original graphics looked like, and I love that. First of all, the new graphics look wonderful. Nice 3D.
Yeah.
But you're still going through the dungeon one step at a time, kicking down doors to see what's in there. I'm looking very forward to replaying this game in this format. I
How,
love how they've done the homage to the original.
I want to know, do you think it's pixel accurate? Or do you think it would be like even 1/16th the size or something, like if they actually rendered the pixels accurate to the size of the 2E on that screen?
Well, yeah, I mean, so the original 2E, we're
It's got
talking
to
a
be smaller.
resolution of like
Yeah.
190, what,
Yeah. So it's got to be way
192
smaller than
by
this.
279, yeah, 280 by 192 ish, something like
I
that.
bet you the actual screen would fit like in the eyeball of one of these characters
Right,
right here.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, that's interesting. We should do a show on Wizardry.
I think
I
that,
never
yeah,
played
because there
those
was a great
games.
Macintosh version also.
Mac Wizardry, yes.
Yeah.
Over on Reddit, Vintage Apple, Graystash has just released a weather forecast app for Vintage Macs running systems 7 through 9. Wow.
I thought there was also an OS 10 version, but yeah, just the fact that
Oh,
you could have a up-to-date weather forecast on your, say, your SE30 if you wanted.
yeah.
This would be this would be how.
Oops. I don't know if I could get out of there.
There it goes.
Yeah, so I guess it goes to some live updated weather
Mhm.
source, pulls that off, puts it on a cool little screen. So if you've got an internet connected Mac, or I guess you could do this in emulation as well. Very cool. All right. And I missed this story. This was back a couple of months ago over on Hackster.io. The title is This Vintage Apple PowerBook Hides Modern MacBook Power. Billy the Kid's 1994 Apple PowerBook 520C shell packs 2024 MacBook Power. And there's this whole walkthrough about how they took this old PowerBook, gutted it, and stuck a modern Mac inside. And
Fantastic. I love how they used
it's fantastic.
An iPad screen fit almost perfectly. They were
Oh,
saying
is that what they
first of all,
used?
this is a proper aspect ratio. And yeah, they said in their article, they said they had to trim the bezel just a little bit. But
Uh,
yeah, they've got a very nice kind of step by step what they used so they could use the original trackball and keyboard. His
the
lithium,
trackpad, yeah.
his homemade battery pack for it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's yeah,
that is
pretty
awesome.
neat. Pretty neat.
Yeah, and there's a YouTube video on it too. Just look for 1994 PowerBook 520C Pro i5 mod. Wow, really slick. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think if we've seen such. I guess in laptops like that. I mean, we've seen classic Macs like outfitted with like shoved Mac Minis in there or stuff like that.
Sure. Hmm.
Um. Okay, on what is this? Trendhunter.com. The title is Repurposed Vintage Apple Computers. There's the old Macquarium. This one an iMac based fish aquarium, but we call them Macquariums. And This article focuses in on Jake Harms. And I remembered that name. I remember like Jake Harms. That rings a bell. And it turns out that back in 2008, we talked about these exact aquariums. And I think I even bought one from him.
I was going to ask if you had one. I thought you had a
I did.
one.
For years, I had
Right.
a aquarium. I eventually disassembled it because I had too many fish that just for some reason wanted to live outside of the tank, and I don't know what it is with what are they, tetras or something like that. Cheap and easy fish, but I don't know, they were insistent that they wanted to see what was going on outside the tank, and but I really enjoyed it for the years I had it, and it worked out really well. Well, it turns out Jake Harms is still making the kits and selling the aquarium
That's awesome.
parts, and I
Wow.
mean, all these years later. And if you go to his website, which is jakeharms.com, it's now expanded. So he's got the original iMac aquarium, comes with pretty much everything you need except for water and fish. But there's also an iMac lamp based on a G4 iMac parts, and then a G4 clock and an eMac clock made from the tray cover of an eMac. And then it goes on. So there's lots of, and then there's some do-it-yourself kits. If you have the parts yourself and the
Very
accessories and
nice.
replacement parts. So yeah, a full up store there. So it's great to see he's still got this stuff. And
Yeah.
if you want to do let's see what the price. Oh, there's videos here of how to build it yourself. But if you just want to purchase the aquarium, it looks like you can do that. Yep, it's going to cost you because obviously you got to get a shell and he's got to put it together or whatever. So you're looking around $400, give or take, depending on the case color. Some of them are easier to come by than others, but if you've got your own shell, and you can do it yourself for a couple $100. So very nice. And it looks like it's better than it was when I got it, because this comes with LED strip lighting. That wasn't even a thing
Sure.
back when I did mine. So it's definitely upgraded for sure. Looks like makes me want to do it again.
So how long before you order your new one?
I've got a tangerine shell that would be perfect for this, because it was a tangerine shell that was like a furniture store display, with the fake CRT
I
and
know which ones
everything.
yep. Mhm.
Yeah. So it'd be perfect for this kind of stuff. But going over to jakeharms.com. All right. Gray Hair Discoveries. The lamp is so worth. It's the best money I ever spent. Is that right? Do you have one from? Let's look. I want to look at this lamp. That is cool. And it's the lamp is great because that was always the thing, that it resembled the iMac before,
it was
resembled
called, right.
the lamp from
desk lamp. Mm-hmm.
right, that played off the
Pixar.
whole Pixar, right, which
Mhm.
was one of the first animated shorts they did, right, with the dancing lamp.
Mhm.
But then wasn't there a video? Now I'm thinking wasn't there a video or an ad with the iMac doing? Yeah, it did that too, right? It danced around the iMac itself at some point. It was animated.
Gosh. Yeah, I
pretty
remember one where with the Well, I remember one where the display was following somebody.
Yeah,
Gosh.
they animated it much
Boy, it's
like
been a long
the
time.
lamp itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah. Do you have an idea for next week? Do you want to do your stained glass?
Oh, yeah. Why don't we do that? We'll talk about stained glass. Sure.
Yeah,
I can-
it's been a
I
long
can
time since we've
scrounge 'em
done
up.
a collection spotlight.
I got something bonus for the YouTube folks back there. I can
Oh,
show real brief if you see
great.
it hanging there behind me. I just found it in the attic today. All right, let's go in 3, 2, 1. All right, that wraps up another episode of the Retro MacCast. Next week, we endeavor to be back, but at 7 o'clock Central,
Yep.
not 7:30, but 7 o'clock. We'll start a little bit earlier.
Right. So if you want to see us on the YouTubes live, that is when to tune in.
We were talking about the stained glass. That's one of the eBay finds, and I mentioned I have a small collection of 4 or 5 or 6 or something. I don't know.
Some very
I'll go
impressive ones.
dig them up. The most impressive one hangs from my window, so that one I'll just have to show photos. I won't be able to model it here on camera because it's hanging in my window. But yeah, we'll do that. So that's really a visual thing. So if you're listening, you'll definitely want to do the YouTube thing. And then for the YouTube audience, I do have a poster hanging behind me that I will grab off the shelf there and bring it over here and show it off here at the end. So until next week, remember, it's not old.
It's retro.
Okay. Gray Hair Discovery says, do you have the Apple dealer sign, the 1984 one? Which dealer sign? Is it the one that's not the one hanging? The Picasso one? Or are you talking about a different one?
Don't you have one of the sandblasted ones that actually hung around the campus?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not what he's talking about. That's a different thing. I don't know if he's talking about the cutaway, which I have some of those. I don't know which dealer sign. Or just the Apple logo, which I have some of those. All right. The dealer. Yeah, you talk about this thing. It's back here. The dealer sign, the glass dealer sign. Is kind of hard to see with the light.
The one that's bottom lit. Yeah. Yeah.
It's back there. You can barely see it. It's
a few of those, don't you?
Just the one. This one right.
Yeah.
There. That's what you're talking about.
The 4x4 piece of glass. Yeah.
4x4.
Well,
it's a foot.
It's
I think it's a foot on the side.
I think that's. I think you two are talking about the same one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me grab that sign. Entertain the crowd for just a second.
Great. So since the cover showed communication, I had to dig out my nice Apple modem, 300 baud. You can download a shareware in like 3 or 4 hours, just like that. All right, so I see James getting his headphones back on. Let's see what he's got for us.
Okay. So this is kind of cool because it's not in the traditional format of posters you see. And unfortunately, mine got a little bent at one point, but it's not too bad. Probably couldn't even see it on camera here, but this is probably a dealer poster.
Yeah.
So it's been, it's got this little aluminum frame wire there to hang it. Actually, it has some information on the back. What does it say? The image maker in Glastonbury, Connecticut. But that's it. But so you got the lineup at the time, which included the classic, 30 portable LC, 2SI, 2CI, and a 2FX here in the corner.
Nice.
With the appropriate monitors. Well, some have built-in monitors, but the others, you've got the 12-inch color, the 13, the portrait
display.
And then the 2-page monochrome monitors.
Fantastic. That is really nice.
Yeah, I just love it. I mean, I like it. It'd be cool to just recreate this lineup with computers I have and have the screens on them, because they also show, there's a lot of detail in the poster. You can get into what's actually shown on the various computers.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Got some business stuff, a lot of charting, and then scientific stuff and publishing and spreadsheets and some really sophisticated things going on here.
Very cool.
Back then. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'd hang it if I had wall space in here. So I just kind of unfortunately gets relegated to the attic for the occasional bringing out. Right, says he would like to see it in person one day. Well, that can probably be arranged. All right, are we done?
I think so.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you next week, and I hope to see us next week.
Yes. Yeah. Let's
So,
not anyone get sick or anything. Right.
Fingers crossed. All right. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the RetroMacCast with James and John. Email listener comments and questions to retromaccast@gmail.com or post comments on our website at www.retromaccast.com.